Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Wired to Be Rich. If you've been listening for a while, I'm so glad you're back for another Tuesday with me. And if this is your very first time tuning in, welcome to the family. I'm your host, Manda Lea, and this is the space where we talk about what it really looks like to create wealth, freedom, and a life that feels good from the inside out. Not the Instagram highlight reels, not the fake motivational stuff, but the mindset shifts, the strategies, and the experiences that actually move the needle. Today's episode is a mix of trading talk, manifestation, and lifestyle design, because all of those things are connected if you're really living a life that's wired to be rich. I just got back from 2 weeks of vacation, half in the Bahamas or sailing to the Bahamas and half in Miami. And instead of rushing back home like our itinerary originally said, we ended up extending it just because we could. That kind of flexibility is something I used to dream about, and it's what I want to talk about today and unpack with y'all. How money, mindset, and lifestyle design all come together to let you live without limits. Let's jump right into it.
She's not just a podcast host. She's a movement.
Manda Lea is teaching people how to break cycles and build real wealth, mentally, financially, and spiritually.
People all over the world are waking up to her message.
Wired to be Rich isn't just a podcast, it's a mindset shift.
She makes you believe again in yourself, in your power, and your ability to actually have the life you always known was meant for you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Manda Lea, entrepreneur, speaker, and founder of Balance and Destiny, and this is Wired to be Rich. I've been diving deep into Jacob Bernstein's The Ultimate Day Trader book while I'm in this season of learning how to day trade. And one of the biggest realizations is that trading has less to do with charts and predictions than people think. It's not really about calling the perfect stock or timing the market with some magic formula. It's about psychology, y'all. It's about how you handle pressure, how you react when things don't go exactly the way you expect it, and whether you can keep your emotions from running your decisions. This book is not only teaching me about how to day trade, but it's also teaching me how to continue to learn how to emotionally regulate. And that's what hit me. Trading forces you to be disciplined. You're constantly looking at patterns, momentum, and signals, but the real skill is learning how to filter noise from truth. And isn't that what life requires too? We get told that success comes from big, dramatic gestures, but most of the time it's the subtle shifts that matter. It's noticing when the energy is changing, when volume is building behind something, when volatility is signaling a bigger move is coming. And if you're too reactive, you'll miss it. Or worse, you sabotage yourself by jumping in and out too fast. For me, studying has been sharpening skills I didn't even realize I needed in other areas of my life. Patience, focus, and emotional control. Because just like in the markets, you can't panic every time life dips. You can't celebrate so hard at the first sign of a gain that you lose sight of the bigger picture. The goal is to build consistency, not chase highs and lows. And that mindset is exactly what you need if you're serious about creating wealth and freedom outside of the market too. This episode of Wired to be Rich is brought to you by my career and wealth strategy firm, Balance and Destiny. If you've been feeling stuck in your career, underpaid, or just ready for your next big move, this is where I help ambitious professionals reinvent themselves, negotiate higher salaries, and land remote roles that actually support the life you want to live. You do not have to settle for survival mode. Let's get you thriving. You can learn more at www.balancedestiny.com. Again, that is www.balancedestiny.com. Let's get back into the episode. Monday morning in Miami, I woke up with no alarm set. And by Monday morning, I mean yesterday. I had no alarm set, y'all. I did still have to get on to check a few emails and start my new work week. But as you know, I prioritize slowness in my morning routines. And I had no alarm set. And when I woke up, the sun was coming straight through the balcony windows, hitting the ocean, making the ocean water looked like it was literally shining and dancing, and I could see it without even lifting my head off the pillow. I was still in the same white robe I'd fallen asleep in. I was wrapped in these beautiful, comfortable white sheets, and the sheer curtains were moving from the fan my man had turned on the night before. And it was one of those moments when you realize this is exactly what you worked for. Waking up without pressure, without rushing, and having life feel that good without even trying. And in that same space, laying next to a man that truly adores me. He's tall, he holds me, and as we overlooked the water, he kissed me from behind, y'all. I just caught myself thinking, wow, is this real? Like, is this really my life? I literally pinched myself because it felt like a dream, and it made me reflect back to last year when I thought my whole world was crashing down. I was going through relationship struggles, friendships falling apart, losing a job. In that moment, it all replayed in my head. And I thought, wow, every piece of what I went through was worth it because it brought me here, overlooking the beautiful ocean as the sun rises in the morning with a man that is tall, ambitious, kind, gentle, sweet, and so supportive of every single dream that I have. I was like, wow, it really brought me here. I don't have to be scared anymore because I really am living a new life. And that's what manifestation actually looks like. Not a vision board, not sitting around repeating affirmations, but arriving in a moment where everything you once prayed for is right in front of you. It's creating enough space in your life to say yes when something feels aligned. That's why when it came time to check out and head back for our flight, we didn't. We knew we weren't done yet. And instead of forcing ourselves back into a plan, we moved the flight and stayed. Flexibility is wealth. Having the option to pivot, to extend joy, to not feel tied down to a timeline, that's the real evidence of manifestation. You don't manifest by locking yourself into what you think has to happen at a specific time. You manifest by leaving room for your life to flow in a better direction and then having the money and the mindset to follow through on it. There's this misconception that when you start making more money, life has to get busier, more chaotic, and more scheduled. But I think the opposite should be true. Money should buy you space. It should buy you the ability to slow down, take your time, and actually enjoy what you've built without guilt. Because here's the part people miss. This level of freedom doesn't come out of nowhere. You have to be willing to put in the work and make sacrifices to create it. And when I say work, I don't mean beating yourself into exhaustion or running yourself into the ground. That's not sustainable and it's not wealth, it's just burnout. What I mean is committing to yourself, committing to your vision, and pouring into every single day, even when it's not glamorous. Honoring your body and knowing when you need rest is part of the process. But you can't confuse rest with complacency. If you want balcony mornings, if you want freedom in your schedule, you've got to be disciplined enough to show up for the things you say you want. That means setting aside time to sharpen your skills, saying no to distractions, being consistent with the habits that move your vision forward. The quote-unquote slow life isn't about doing nothing. It's about doing the right things with focus so that later you don't have to live on anyone else's timeline but your own. That's the trade-off, y'all. That's the real flex. Quick pause though. I just dropped a brand new article on the Balance and Destiny blog called August 2025 Career Edge, Positioning for Leadership in the AI Integrated Workplace. It's all about how AI is changing the workforce right now and how you can use it as an advantage instead of being replaced by it. If you've been thinking about leadership, upward mobility, or even just keeping your skills competitive, you need to read this article. Head on over to www.balancedestiny.com and click on the blog section to check it out. Again, it's www.balancedestiny.com. Click on the blog section to check it out. Now let's get back into the episode. Adaptability is one of the most underrated success skills, but it's also one of the hardest to practice. Most people cling to what they know, even if it doesn't serve them anymore, because change feels like a loss of control. But the truth is, being adaptable is what creates room for everything new, and everything better to actually show up. For me, right now, even outside of vacations and travel, I'm weighing decisions in my life that require me to be adaptable. Big ones. Decisions that could change my environment, my routines, the way I move in my career, even the circles I put myself in. And it's scary because adaptability always carries some level of risk. You don't know exactly how it will play out, and you have to trust yourself enough to move anyway. But every time I look back, the moments I adapted instead of forcing myself to stay the same were the moments that moved me forward the most. Adaptability is proof that that you believe in yourself. It's saying, I may not have the full picture, but I trust that pivoting here will lead me somewhere I'm supposed to be. The power in adapting is that it shifts your identity. You're no longer just someone reacting to life. You're someone actively choosing to create it. And while the fear is real, the results are almost always worth it. You grow faster, you see more clearly, and you position yourself for opportunities that staying rigid would have never allowed you to touch. At the end of the day, this whole conversation, whether it's trading, traveling, or manifesting, is really about building a life that loves you back. Too many people create lives that drain them, jobs that trap them, routines that suffocate them. And the point of wealth isn't just to say you make a certain number. It's to make sure your life feels like it's paying you in joy, in peace, in flexibility, and in memories. For me, that looks like studying trading, not just to make more money, but to master a skill that sharpens me. It looks like saying yes to last-minute plans. It looks like making my schedule reflect who I am instead of who the world told me to be. That's what Wired to be Rich really means. It's not just about money. It's about wiring your entire life so it feeds you, supports you, and expands you. And here's the real truth. You always have a choice. Sometimes the version of life you want is going to require you to burn it all down. Not in the sense of cutting everyone off and going hermit mode, but in the sense of letting go of the old blueprint and not being afraid to start again. It's accepting that at the end of the day, none of us really know anything, and everything we think is so solid is actually nothing. So why not enjoy the process of building and rebuilding? Because that is the fun part. That's where the freedom really lives. So that's what I want to share with you today. How trading, traveling, and manifestation all connect back to the same thing. Freedom. Freedom to pause, freedom to pivot, and freedom to live without limits. If you got value from this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave me a review, and share it with someone you know is also on their journey to building wealth and creating freedom. You can also connect with me on Instagram at ForbesManda_ or on Twitter at Manda Lea _. And both social media tags will be in the show notes below. And if you want to collaborate or have inquiries, my email is info@balancedestiny.com, and it'll also be linked in the show notes below. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Wired to be Rich. I will see y'all next Tuesday. But until then, remember, being rich isn't just about what you earn. It's about how you live. I'll see y'all next time. Bye.